everybody, this is Alyssa from Make Arts and Crafts, and today we are here for a WIP and chat. So WIP stands for Work in Progress Chat. Well, we're going to sit here, we're going to chat a little bit about the week, what I've been up to, all that fun stuff, and oh, my eyes are tired. Gonna pour the sleep out of my eyes. So anywho, today's canvas that I am working on, this is called Embrace of the Pumpkin. It is from the artist Kikua, and it comes to us from Mini Made. So let me turn on the overhead so you guys can see the picture. So there is our picture right there. Look how cute that is. I have done the bottom half, and now I've flipped it over, and we're going to work on this top half right here today. So what tools am I using for this? So right now, the pens that I'm currently using, I have this beautiful pen from Peachy Keen Pens. So this beauty right here, it's a stunning pen. And then I'm trying to remember, I'm trying to remember where I got this one from. I want to say this one might also, it was in the same Peachy Keen pen area of my thing. So I want to say this is also Peachy Keen Pens, which I think so, because if you look at the end, it's like the same end. So this is also a Peachy Keen pen. It reminds me of a Lassen Lathworks pen, because of like the shape down in here reminds me of one of theirs, but I think it's also a Peachy Keen. But look how beautiful it is. So I'm working with these two Peachy Keen pens, one with an 8 placer, one with a 10 placer. And then I am working, or well, actually no, they both have 8 placers. Yeah, those are both 8 placers right there. And then I'm also using this stunning pen right here from Swampwood. So that's my stunning Swampwoods pen I've got with the 10 placer on it. I also have my 2 trays. These have been kind of like my go-to because I think they're my 2 Yellow Dog Designs trays, and I've used them for everything. I haven't swapped out my WIP wax in a hot minute, but it just smells so good. I'm using pineapple cilantro. That's my new like hyperfixation scent. And I've got some coconut cream pie scented putty from Randa's Crafty Corner. So that's the putty that I'm using. So those are my utensils that I am using, or my tools and accessories, I guess you could say. And now we're going to get into it. I'm going to apologize in advance if I'm trying a slightly different setup with my, here, let me pull my plastic cover off. I'm trying a slightly different setup right now than I normally do. More so because I have 2 tripods that I use for filming. So this setup, I actually pulled like my preferred tripod to use, which doesn't fit on my table the same way since I set up the cross-stitch conversion. Well, because the cross-stitch conversion, I have like the clamps on the edge of my table that hold it in place, and the clamps sit right where I normally put the base for my tripod. So now with those in the way, it's like I can't actually put my tripod where I normally do. So I got a different tripod, but I don't like, it's not as easy to see because it's got one of those clippy things. It clips on weird. It stands independently on the floor, but then it clips on weird to the phone. So that's something that I've been kind of playing around with different options. So I was like, why don't I just use my tripod that I prefer to use that sits on the desk, but bring like my extra cart over and set it on the cart so I can try to get like the better filming perspective, because I hate having things like super wonky. Beyond the fact that you guys are looking at this upside down. So we're trying that, but the only thing, it shakes when Sushi jumps on it, and Sushi's like, oh, I must climb all over this, because that's Sushi. So she just got distracted and ran off. So we'll see how that goes. But if she does jump up, I'm going to apologize in advance, because it will shake the camera. So if you're one that watches, I'm sorry. But we're going to see how this turns out and looks. So I can't set a timer on my phone or on my watch because I'm not currently wearing my watch because I just, it needs charged. I could have been wearing it, but I think I had a moment there where I was like, well, maybe I'll just stay in bed. Yeah, so I'm filming this on Saturday night. I had to think for a minute. And around like 5 o'clock this evening, I was like, I'm tired. I'm going to take a break from what I've been doing all day. And I'm going to go like lay down in bed. And watch a show while I'm laying here. And next thing I know, I wake up and it's 10 p.m. You guys, I literally slept for almost 5 hours this evening, which is almost a full night's sleep for me. I normally sleep I used to only get like 5 hours of sleep a night. I've been doing better. I'm up to like 6.5 maybe, but closer to the 6 mark. So the fact that I slept for like 5 hours means that's like literally my entire night's sleep. And if I try to go to bed right now, it's a little after, it's probably close to 10:30 now. If I try to go to bed right now, I am so extremely wide awake. So there will be no sleeping happening until probably the wee hours in the morning. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And this is why I try not to like lay down and take naps, because it screws me over. But anywho, so, yeah, I don't have my watch on because I took it off when I woke up because, I had been sleeping and I was like, oh, I think I probably need to charge it. I really probably could have gotten away with still wearing it and not charging it because all I did was sleep. So there was nothing for it to monitor or log. But anywho, so that's why I don't have a watch on, and I don't feel like getting up and going over there and grabbing my watch. So we're going to work on our Embrace the Pumpkin. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend, and hopefully you guys get to enjoy a long weekend, because this has been quite wonderful. Well, I didn't have a full day off on Friday. I was supposed to, but I had to go back into work for a meeting. So I did have to go to work for a few hours on Friday, and I'll talk about that. But otherwise, I will have the weekend off. I'm not so concerned about the lack of sleep, because I still have, today is Saturday, and I still have, this evening, I still have all day Sunday. And then I also have all day Monday where I don't have to go to work, because this was a 4-day weekend, and I'm like, oh my goodness, hallelujah, that's amazing. So anywho, we're working on the 310 on this canvas right now. So it has been, I'm trying to think of, so this week was, usually those shorter weeks always end up being a little bit more chaotic, because that you have to fit, like usually at work, I have to fit the entire week's worth of work into 4 days. But yeah, I usually have to fit the entire week's worth of work into a 4-day period. The patient care side is fine. It's all the other stuff that I do that then takes up time. So then you're trying to get all of the things done that everybody wants done. You're trying to, get everything good to go. And it's just, it's when you're trying to do all of that and get everything done in that time period, but now you have a shorter period to get all those things done in, it definitely makes for some longer days. And this week I also had, I had to take the girls to the vet this week. So I was staying late doing things pretty much every day, but then I had to leave early on Wednesday because the girls had a vet appointment this week. Just their annual follow-up exam, or their annual exam to make sure they're healthy and good, make sure Mochi's teeth looked good, get their rabies shots. So they had that appointment on Wednesday. So I had to leave a little bit early because I had to leave at 2 so I could be home and pick them up and get them ready and toss them in the car and go to the vet and be there for their appointment at 3. So yeah, the girls had their vet visit. They had their shots. They've been doing great. I was wondering, I know probably not what you guys want to hear, but I was earlier this week, or towards the latter half of this week, I was like, man, Sushi's got some soft poop. Why is she having such an issue with soft poop at the last half of this week? And then I realized, oh, she had shots. So her system is, recovering from her shots. That would be why she's had some soft poop. Do not jump on there, Mo. Mochi almost jumped up onto the cart. I figured Sushi would be the culprit, but apparently Mochi could be the culprit too. So anyways, so that's something that I was, kind of tracking and keep an eye on. I have to do this. The only downside sometimes to working on these canvases like I do is I get to here and all the weight is on the top of the canvas and it causes it to kind of do that little bit of a buckling right there. But it's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. So, yeah, the girls had their vet visit. They went well. Oh my goodness, they were cracking me up. If you guys watched my live that I did on Friday, I did decide to go live on Friday. So usually if I have a 4-day weekend like that, it's been a while since I've done it, but I usually will do lives on 4-day weekends. So that way it's not necessarily right on the holiday itself. And I know then there's lots of people who have to worry about work and everything else, but I try to time it for later afternoon. So that way people that work can still watch and everything. But I might try to do it a little bit more consistently for 4-day weekends that I might have during the holidays. We will see. But anywho, so I did it, but it was definitely good kind of catching up real time with everybody, because I feel because I keep missing everybody else's lives, I feel I've been missing, and I feel I had to play constantly playing like catch up because I keep missing all the lives because, and I don't, I think it's, my brain is so used to, getting home from work and then immediately joining a live or being on live, like as I'm joining the live for somebody, watching it and like listening to it as I'm driving home from work. Because being on the West Coast, it was like, the evening lives would end up being, like 4 or 5 o'clock, somewhere around in there. So it was perfect. I'd get off work around 4 or 5, depending on the day. And I would, have the live immediately upon getting home. But now that I'm West Coast or East Coast instead of West Coast for the first time in 12 plus years, my brain doesn't want to compute it. So my brain keeps thinking, okay, we need, like, I get home from work and, it's after 5 o'clock and I'm not on a live. So my brain's like, all right, we don't have anything to do. We're going to zone into our diamond painting. And I'll look up at the clock and I'll be like, oh no, it's like 8 p.m. Or it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock p.m. And I've missed the live that was at, 8 p.m. kind of a thing. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. So that's been annoying. Cause it's like, you would think I've been here for, almost a year at this point. End of October will be a year that I've been East Coast. And my brain is still not with this whole East Coast time zone thing. Which I grew up East Coast time zone, so you think it would be no problem, but apparently my brain is telling me otherwise. So anywho, that's been my struggle. So it's definitely going live and like catching up with everybody that I would normally interact with on lives, like because a lot of people that I know that are sitting in like the other lives that I join will join my live and then everything else. So that's something that's always so like killing me smalls. It's like with Laura, Anxiety Art Adventures. I keep missing her lives because again, my brain is like 5 p.m. and then in reality we're East Coast, so it's actually 8 p.m. And my brain is like 5 p.m., 5 p.m., 5 p.m. So by the time 8 p.m. rolls around, I'm like in the middle of like my diamond painting and I'm zoned and I completely space out and forget. So anywho, yes, so I did go live. It was fun. It was nice. I'm going live again. I have like I said, I haven't been live in a hot minute. I don't think since like February timeframe maybe. So did that, and now I am working away on my diamond painting. So yeah, that was this week. Oh yeah, so the girls. I got distracted. What was I talking about? I was talking about the girls. So they had their vet visit, and Sushi she was like, so she's the uber friendly, I love everything and everybody, but only like if you're at the house here, apparently. Normally she's really good at the vet too. And she's like, here, I'm cute. Love me, love me, love me. But with, like when I took her to the vet on Wednesday, she was like, Mom, hold me. I'm scared. I don't know what's going on. I don't like this. Hold me, Mom. So she was very, very much like a needy little thing, which she always is. I mean, she's my Klingon for a reason. It's like if I'm standing there, she's got to be against me, like on my shoulder. She's my little Klingon. So she was like, they took her, plopped her on. The girls were great when it came time to weighing them. I need to do like a drill smash down right here because these drills are like, these 310s are kind of sticking together. So I need to try to separate them a little bit and get more drills. And I don't feel like hunting down my drill, the drill thingy, the drill grinder to try to separate these drills. And I needed more 310. I don't have enough 310 that's not stuck together like this to do. I might have to raid some 310 from somewhere else to finish because this is not quite doing it. I have plenty of round 310 that I can use in my hoard of my spare drill supplies. So I just need to go grab them if I get close to running out. I may do that rather than trying to fight with these drills kind of clumping and sticking together. So I may end up doing that. So, because that's not, like, they're all clumped together now, which I didn't notice as I was working on the earlier 310 on the other side of the canvas. But now that I'm on this side of the canvas, with that last little bit of 310 that I need, because I need to do this. And then I also have this area here, and then here and here. So I think, let me grab some drills. Let me place a couple drills first. So anyways, so took the girls in, Mochi and Sushi, they got weighed. They did good for that part. And then Mochi's like, put me back in my kennel, Peon. I don't like to be out and about like this. So I put her back in her, so the girls went back in their kennel. And then they took them into the back so they could do the blood work to check, do their heartworm test and then fecal test, all of that stuff. So they took them in the back for that. I warned them that Mochi is devil child when it comes to trying to do anything involving a shot, especially if I'm not there. If I'm there, then I can usually keep her distracted and she's fine. But if they take her in the back and do it without me, I was like, fair warning, she turns into devil cat. She looks all sweet and innocent, but she hates shots. And part of that is, she's had so much with the dental work that she's had to do. She's had so much. Hi, Momos. Oh, I know you, sweet thing. All right, let me grab some drills. I'm going to, I have my overflow, which 310 is one of them that I think I have an absolute massive quantity of. So let me grab some round 310. Yep, there we go. All right. See, I knew that wasn't going to be an issue, because now I have this extra baggie of overflow 310 that I'm going to use, because I just can't with these ones. So we're going to pour these clumpy drills out. But yeah, they were I couldn't get any more drills because they were all just clumped. So now we're going to use my actual good 310 right in here. This is why I keep extras, because then I don't have to fight with annoying drills when it comes to things like this. I just say, yeah, we're done with those ones. We're going to pull out some other drills. And then I don't have to, have that annoyance of fighting with poor quality, clumping together drills. Oh, this is going to be so much better now. Yes. So anywho, so yeah, I warned them about Momo. They took them back. They did their stuff. They said that, yes, that she was a little brat trying to get her blood work. She doesn't bite or anything like that. And she doesn't swipe at you. She just is will move so hard. And then it's the claws become she unsheaths all of the daggers and her legs stay like this. So you try to move her and it's you always have a leg touching you with claws exposed. Hi, Mo. What? Are you sitting in the chair being cute? Yes, you are a sweet baby. You are. I'm talking about your sweet little self. So yeah, but they got him, and then they brought him back in, and then it was a matter of doing the shots. Well, then we had to wait for the vet to come in so that way she could check, how they check their teeth. And especially with Mochi's history, they wanted to make sure that they were checking her teeth thoroughly, which they always do, but they wanted to, so they had to check Mochi's teeth. They had to check, they checked their heart. They checked both girls' teeth, actually, and they did their heart, checked their heart, listened to their hearts. And then, from there, they listened to lungs, checked lungs, and did the, and then they also did, just checked stomach, making sure everything's looking good on the girls. And they were doing great. They did great, and they were looking great. So yay, they've got the clean bill of health. And then it was time to, and it was so funny because the whole time that they were trying to do that part, Mochi's I am done with the vet. We're here still. I want to be done. I am done. So well, we started with Sushi, and with Sushi was like, no, Mom, save me. So, the vet assistant is trying to hold Sushi while they're doing this, and Sushi is, has become, this liquid cat where it's you can't hold me, you can't hold me. I need to replace the putties. We're going to switch pens. And Sushi was like, you can't get me, no. So she's, trying to climb up the vet assistant's back to get to me. So finally, and she was, literally crawling along her back. And the vet assistant, she's like, I'm fine. I'm like, no, I got her. I'll grab her because she'll be happier. So I just grabbed the Susu and held her. And she was like, Mom, you're saving me from them. Save me, Mom. So, I just held her. She was draped against my shoulder. And then they did pretty much the rest of the exam for Sushi with her draped right against my shoulder. And that was so much easier, and then they did her shot as I held her while they gave her the shot, and it was easy peasy because, Mom was holding her, so she was fine. And then it came time for Mochi. Mochi did not want to come out of her kennel, so I had to drag her little butt out of the kennel, and she was like, no. She was trying to anchor her claws into the plastic of the kennel because she's like, don't make me. So I got Mochi out. And I know Mochi for sure, and I knew how she reacts at the vet. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to, and she was in like that tiny little cat huddle where they kind of curl themselves into this little crouch that the cats do. She was in her tiny cat crouch right in front of me, sideways. So she was touching, like her side was completely plastered against my stomach. And she was like, okay, I'm fine. You can hold me like this. And then as soon as the vet started touching her, she started growling. And I was like, what are you doing, Mo? She just sat there at her couch with me holding her and petting her, and then growled at the vet. Every time the vet touched her, she would growl. And I'm like, you're funny. So she was definitely voicing her displeasure with her vet visit. And then, we did her shot, and I would just kind of held her and scratched her face. And she was like so easy to do once I'm holding her and loving on her. Then they have no problems. But she was just growling the entire time at the vet as, she was checking her heart and listening to her lungs and heart and all of that. It was so funny. It was so funny. I was like, you are a hoot, Mo. Sushi's playing with a toy, in case you wondered. But then they did that, and then popped her down. Mochi immediately was like, in the kennel, off I go, escape, freedom. And then Sushi was like, oh, you're done with all of this stuff now? So now I'm going to be all cute and flirty and come out of the kennel and be an adorable little thing. So then she turned into like the cute, flirty little Sushi that she normally is. It was so funny because she was like, oh, you're done. So I can actually, be a part of everything and see what's going on and check it all out. She was so funny. But yeah, so they had their vet visit, and then let's see, what color am I going for? Okay. And they were perfectly fine after that. And, we got home and they were like, ugh, the indignity. And then, back to their normal self. But you could see Sushi had 2 shots. So her system got a little bit more than Mochi. Mochi had just had her rabies shot. But yeah, they had their shots. And then from there, went home, and it was Wednesday. Thursday was my last day at work for the week. It was supposed to be the last day at work. So I had a lot to do on Thursday to kind of like play catch up and make sure I was good to go for the weekend. And that was when I was like, oh darn it, I have a meeting. And I like emailed the people, and I was like, hey, I want to make sure everybody's tracking, because Friday was supposed to be a minimal manning day. So basically, or a reduced manning day where you have like 50% of people there. So I wanted to make sure, because I'm like, I don't want to have to come in on Friday if there's nobody, if people that are part of the meeting, the other 3 people, if they're not actually going to plan on being there, I don't want to have to come in for it. Because I'm like, I'll come in if I have to. I had scheduled my live for 4 p.m. so that way I knew that I could be good for my meeting. So I did, and the meeting was supposed to be from like 1 to 2, but then they were, one of the people that, because essentially it's what's called a career development board, but basically you have somebody's record in front of you, their military record, and we have 3 more senior officers that review their record and go over, okay, this is what we need to do, this is where you're at now, this is what you should focus on for the rest of your time at this command, and then this is what you need to think about and plan for, kind of like moving forward into the future career-wise. So we had that career development board, and I'm the one that coordinates all of them for Medical Service Corps, which is the corps that I'm in. So it's like any ancillary services. We also have healthcare administrators. It's like healthcare administrators, any kind of like non-MD or nurse or dental medical field is basically in the Medical Service Corps. So like we have psychology, we have physical therapy, podiatry, we have pharmacists, industrial hygiene officers, like anything, pretty much, you name it. If there's 31 different types of officer in the Medical Service Corps. And we're all medical related, but it's like basically anybody, like I said, that's not an MD or a DO. So I coordinate all of those career development boards for the command, for the entire hospital, and set them up. And I also am required to sit on those boards as well. That's actually part of the instruction, is that I have to be on one of the members that's on the board. So every career development board that I schedule, I then sit on, unless it's somebody that's higher ranking than me. But yeah, so we had that, and like the person who we were doing the board for was relatively new officer, but we were doing her board. And it was basically, then there were 3 others, another person my rank, and then 2 a rank above me. So there were 4 of us for this board. And one of the two senior ones, basically the one of them reports to the other, and she was like, hey, can we move this to like 10 or 11? So I like looked at the calendar and looked at everything, and I'm like, well, 10 o'clock would work. So we went ahead and got scheduled for, or moved it up, which I was like, that actually works for me, because then it's not like in the middle of my day. Because it's like, if it was at 1 o'clock, I would have kind of like chilled, relaxed, had a slow, lazy morning. And then, you know, by the time I actually get my day started, it would have probably been around like 10 or 11. So then I would have had to be like, okay, I have to pay really close attention to time so I can make sure I leave around noonish to make sure I'm ready and prepared for the meeting. Which thankfully, with it being moved up, I think I got up, well, I was awake at the same time I normally am, but I got out of bed at like 8 o'clock and took my shower, left around 9 o'clock so that way I could drive to work and get myself ready, get everything ready and prepped for the meeting. I also had to do some other like admin things just for being, you know, in charge of the clinic. I had some of the stuff that I had to do because my civilians were still working on Friday. So the only ones that weren't there were the active duty, which on the physical therapy side of the house, it was pretty much like me. So that was something that kind of worked on that, and did some of the admin stuff for them. And then they got a phone call saying they needed to have like inpatient coverage, seeing if we were doing inpatient coverage with the holiday and the long weekend. And I was like, yep, we still are. So I had to assign one of my civilians to do that, because normally I do Fridays. I cover Friday inpatient at the hospital. But since I wasn't technically there, I had to make sure I had already had somebody that was going to be lined up to do it. So it was like a whole process. But that was like my Friday at work. So I got there at like 9:30, and then I didn't leave until like 11:30. So it was only like 2 hours. So then, of course, on my way home, I'm like, okay, on the way home, I had to stop and drop off my dress uniform for dry cleaning. So I got that dropped off at the dry cleaners. And then I'm like, I need Starbucks after, you know, having to come in on my day off and do stuff. So I stopped at Starbucks on the way home. And the closest Starbucks, the one that's actually on the way home and I don't have to go out of the way for, is in the Target, which is like 2 stoplights after the base. So when I left the hospital, it was like 2 stoplights off. Once I got off base onto the main road, it was like on and then off. But the only downside is it's not a drive-through. So if I want to go to a drive-through Starbucks, I have to drive like out of my way a little bit, which I've done before. But this, I was like, I was not in the mood to drive out of the way to go to Starbucks. So I was like, I'll just get out of the car and go inside. I didn't need anything from Target, so I didn't even bother going past I literally just did the Starbucks and then left. But I was able to, I had like stars to redeem, so I was able to get like a free drink, and it was so good. So good. I love all the pumpkin spiced everything. But I haven't had one in a while, so it was like a lot sweeter because I haven't had a lot of like sweets and sugar. I was like, man, that was really sweet. I'm not used to it tasting so sweet. So I may I need to go back and to have just a straight matcha, because those are less of the sweetness when we have the matcha. And that's one of my favorite drinks, is a matcha anyways. But yes, so that was kind of like the Friday during the day. And then, you know, I came back and was working away, did the live in the afternoon, which was a lot of fun. And it was good to see everybody that joined on the live. And then after that, after the live, I was like, okay, I need to eat dinner. And then I got back to, well, actually, I don't think I did any diamond painting, because I had already finished oh, no, maybe I did finish that. No, I had already finished that section earlier in the day, I want to say on Friday, or I finished it Thursday night, because I was cross-stitching, because I'm trying to play catch-up on a stitch-along that I'm doing as a cross-stitch conversion, that I decided at the last minute, oh, hey, maybe I want to do this as a cross-stitch too. So now I'm to kind of like compare how they work up. So then I was like, well, then that meant that I had to get working on this cross stitch pattern where the third part of the pattern, it's a Flossy Fox Shop one, the third part of the pattern came out on Friday, or Thursday or Friday, and I'm still working on part 1 because it takes a whole heck of a lot longer, and I only started it like a week ago. So while everybody else has had, a month, or well, they've had because we started August, all the month of August, all the month of September to finish the first 2 parts, and now the third part came out. Whereas I'm like, okay, now a week ago I decided to start. So I was like running like 7 to 8 weeks behind everybody else. I'm making really good progress. If we're talking about sections 1 and 2 of that cross stitch project, for diamond painting, I've got sections 1 and 2 done because they don't take me very long as cross stitch conversions. And then for the actual cross stitch, pretty much that's all I did today. I basically spent today cross stitching for most of the day until I fell asleep and took went to bed at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But yeah, my cross stitch conversion my cross stitch project, I made some really good progress on today. I want to make even more progress on it this weekend. I want to finish this canvas this weekend, which I will, because it won't take me too long to do this half here. And so I want to finish this one. And then I also want to get close to finishing and catching up with, the part 2. I don't think I'm going to finish all of, part 1 and part 2 of the cross stitch project, the stitch along. And I also have my other cross stitch that I need to do this week as well, because that one releases every week, whereas this one, but it's a smaller section. It's like a 300 stitches, which usually I can do in if I average, say, 100-ish stitches an hour, somewhere around in there, or maybe 200 stitches an hour. I don't know. It depends on how many color changes I have to make. But anywho, long story short, I've been working on those and making progress on those, so I didn't get as much of this one done. But I'm trying to play catch up on the cross stitch project, the stitch along. So that's kind of slowing that part down. And then what else? So yeah, that was Friday, and then that was also a big portion of Saturday, because like I said, I spent a lot of yesterday and a lot of today, because today is Saturday for me because I'm filming Saturday. But I spent a lot of Saturday working on the actual cross stitch, and now I'm actually diamond painting. I didn't diamond paint at all. I did a little bit on Friday earlier in the day. Oh my goodness, that was a loud meow, Susu. She's standing on top of my door, meowing at me. She's silly. But yes, so my goal, again, like I said, this weekend, I want to finish this canvas, get started on my Mrs. Butter D canvas that I want to work on, which is Cursed is the name of that one. Get started on Cursed, and then go from there. So yes, making good progress, though. We're slowly making progress on this one. And that'll be and that's a realistic goal. Sometimes I make these super lofty goals and it doesn't happen, but this one I will finish this weekend. I do have to say, so this has some glow-in-the-dark drills on it. I know the canvas has been discontinued from Unimade. She doesn't have Kikoa licensed anymore. And so you can't buy this canvas anymore, but if you have it in your hoard, you're good. But it has a glow-in-the-dark drills, and that's something that's not necessarily exclusive to this canvas. And that's one of the things that I want to give feedback on is these glow-in-the-dark drills, because these glow-in-the-dark drills, the white ones are fine, the yellow ones are so-so, and the purple ones are most definitely see-through. You don't notice it once you're at like a viewing distance for the purple ones, and you don't notice it unless you have a light pad behind it for the orangish yellow ones. But that's something that I want to give feedback for, is say, hey, look, this, I recommend when you're going to have the glow-in-the-dark drills, do just a blank circle behind it, especially because if you're going to do them and you have, like, the color is totally different, like this is the color for one of them right here. So rather than having a check mark, just do that pale purple circle with nothing behind it. It's the way that Crafties does their glow-in-the-dark drills. I personally don't like glow-in-the-dark drills, so I usually swap them out on canvases, but I decided to see how it looked on this one. And as I'm working on it, I'm like, I love the canvas. I added some extra ABs and some extra dust drills because, you know, I could not. But that's something that looking at it, I'm like, okay, I need to, let's see if there's any more of this color. Okay, there's that whole section there. I was like, yeah, it just helped to reaffirm that I do not like glow drills. I've just never been a fan of the glow drills. They're not my favorite drill in any way, shape, or form. So yes, we're gonna work over here. But anywho, that's been like my crazy week. We can talk a little bit about releases. So how did everybody do for the Halloween drop? I know it's a very popular drop, hence the fact that we get, you know, like 30 Halloween releases this weekend. How did you guys do? Did you buy a lot? Did you buy just a couple? I want to know. Let me know in the comments below. I actually only bought one canvas. I bought one canvas, you guys. I was so proud of myself because, you know, I've been saying, oh, I'm going to be working on this like low buy, no buy kind of a thing. And yet I still end up buying, like, I talk about, oh, what did I buy this weekend? Oh, I bought 3 canvases, or oh, I bought this, or oh, I bought that. Well, I actually was very good. I was really proud of myself. I wish listed 4 canvases that I wanted, the 2 Mrs. Butterdew canvases, the Jeremiah Kettner, and that like potion bottle one, that super cute one. It reminds me of a Popeshi. I can't, the artist's name starts with like a G or something like that. But it was a cute little one, and I think it was like, I think that's the first one we've had from that artist. But it was super cute. The potion bottles one, that one I thought was adorable, and I wish listed that one too. But I was super torn because I wanted to, what I really wanted to purchase, like if I had bought 2, it would have been the Yume, which of course you guys know I bought the Yume. And have you guys seen that Yume? That is like epic kit. I love it. I'm not one to have a ton of Halloweeny kits, as I'm working on a Halloween kit right now. But that one was one that it's a Yume, and I love it. If you look closely, it's like the main subject. She's got 2 knives. She's got a knife in each hand, so she's like double fisting the knives like this. So it's like, here's my knives. She's like, and then if you see the pumpkin faces, oh my goodness, the looks of terror on those little pumpkin faces is epic. So, of course, it was a must because it was a Yume. But beyond that, I'm like, this is such an epic canvas. I love it. It's a massive behemoth of a canvas because it's like 70 by like 111. So it's huge, but it's so epic. I'm like, it is beyond epic. And I think that's probably will be like the one Halloween canvas that I do next year, because it's going to take me a hot minute to do a canvas that big. That's squares. But anyway, so I got that one, and it was so hard for me to wish list the Jeremiah Kettner. And I was like, when I was seeing them, because originally I was like, okay, I'm going to get, 2 images. And I was thinking I was going to get, because I was originally like, oh, I'll buy 2. Because, low buys are great until you are like, oh, it's the actual release day. What do I want to get? And then you get distracted, and it's like the FOMO hits, and you're like, but I want this one. And I'm like, no, wish list. But in my brain, I was like, okay, I'm going to get 2 canvases. So they showed the Jeremiah, and I'm like, well, that's a must have. I have to have this Jeremiah Kettner. It was perfection. So the Jeremiah Kettner was absolute perfection. And I even voted for that little cat. The little witchy cat thing, that the Jeremiah Kettner one. I can't remember the name of it. So cute. So I was like, I saw that and I'm like, okay, this is a must. And then they showed the 2 Mrs. Butterdew canvases, which out of the 2, because they're very similar. So I was like, okay, I can buy one of those. So I was looking at those and I'm like, well, the Boo Cafe, the more like room scene looking one was the one that I was going to get. And then they did the Yume, and I'm like, okay, well, I am absolutely buying the Yume, and I'm not gonna, start off, I was like, I'm not gonna let myself buy 3 canvases. No, I can only buy 2. So then I was like, and I think I was torn between whether I wanted the Mrs. Butter or the Jeremiah Kettner, and I couldn't decide. And then finally I was like, well, why am I even trying to decide when I should be wish listing those anyways, because they are not Yumeis, and the Yume was so big that even with a discount code, I didn't use the special Halloween discount code because that like dropped me just below the free shipping threshold. But if I used the regular discount code that I use every weekend, I was above the free shipping threshold, which means there's absolutely no reason. You guys have heard me talk about my opinions on the whole free shipping thing. But it was like there would be no justification for getting a second because I was already at free shipping. So I'm like, well, if I'm already at free shipping, I might as well just get this one. I'm just going to get my one canvas and I'm going to be good and wish list these others. So I was really proud of myself. It was super hard to do because, you know, I like my pretties, but I was like, no, I need to not purchase these other ones because I've been saying I'm on like a low buy, so I need to stick to it. So I did end up wish listing the other ones, and I'm so proud of myself. It's still hard because they're still in stock, so I keep like, but I want them. Yes, so that's been a struggle. Because I was like, well, I could just go in and, you know, buy them with points. And I'm like, no, that defeats the purpose. I'm saving my points for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, in case they do me dirty like they did last year and release, like, you know, another 12 Yumeis, like they did last year between, like, Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Black Friday alone, we had 10 Yumeis. That was a lot. So, with that in mind, I'm like, well, so with that in mind, it's like, okay, gonna wish list, and I did wish list, and it was tough, and it was challenging. And I'm always so impressed by people that can do a no buy. I'm always so impressed by them because I can't, like, I would not have been able to not buy that Yume. It's like, it was hard enough wish listing the other ones, but there's no way I would have been able to wish list the Yume. So I did get that one. So I wonder what you guys got. It was cool seeing like all the different kits. There were a lot of like those similar style like little ghosties that seem to have been very popular in the voting round this time around, apparently, because there were a ton of them in there. And I think they had done like the onesies and twosies of them, but not had, you know, such a large portion of the releases been that similar style. But that's just me personally. I know they go with what people vote for, but if somebody's like, I want these ghosts, and they vote on 10 different ghosts that all look kind of similar because they want one of them to make it through, and then they actually push through, you know, the vast majority of those ghosts that got voted on. Well, how many people are going to actually be buying all 10 of them versus saying, okay, they're voting on all of them hoping that, you know, some would make it through, and then if most of them make it through, then, you know, you don't have a bunch of people that are going to sit there and buy 10 ghost canvases. Yes, there are some that will have, but not everybody is going to do that. That's going to be, like, not the norm. The norm will not be to buy 10 ghosties. It'll be to buy, you know, their favorite couple of them. So, anywho, that was kind of like my whole thought process on that part of everything. But I'm like, I'm not the numbers person. I'm not the one that plans releases. I have no association with that in any way, shape, or form. I'm just a consumer. So, anywho, but yeah, they had some pretty good variety of kits. I loved seeing like I said, the Mrs. Butter D ones. As I go smacking into my tripod. Sorry about that, you guys. What are we at timing-wise? How long have I been babbling on about? Momo, you're so cute. Momo's sitting in the chair, my other chair behind me, being all adorable. All right. Oh, wow. It's already been 40-ish minutes or so. What? Don't scratch on my chair, Brad. She's like, but Mom, you said I was cute. I'm like, I did, but that doesn't mean scratch. Ugh, these drills are staticky. Yeah, they are super staticky, apparently. They weren't that staticky earlier. At least I didn't feel like it. But, oh my goodness, you guys, it's cold enough that, like right now I'm tired. Well, I just woke up, so I'm always warmer at that point because I sleep hot, apparently. So this is, so now that I'm freshly awake and everything, I'm a little bit warmer than I would be if I was going to bed. But, oh my word, I'm trying to get these drills out of my tray because there was static on them. Yeah, they were staticking everywhere. Look at that, static. So anyways, sorry, I have like this frog in my throat going on right now. So, what was I going to say? We were going to talk about, oh yeah. So the temperature has like really dropped this week, especially this weekend. So it was currently like, it's chilly outside, like at least for like this area chilly, which means it's been like 70s because, you know, Florida. But cool enough that like I have my AC on the house set for 80. It's cool enough that like the room temperature was like 77 is what I got up to today. Oh, see, it's like what I need to do is lower this down so the canvas can angle over the top, because I have my cardboard to make the canvas taller. So we're going to do this so that the canvas can drape over the top, and that'll help hold it in place. There we go. Now we're good, because now the canvas is draping over the top and I don't have to worry about it falling on me. So anyways, yeah, it was 77 degrees in here at like, in the house at like noon. And I'm cold. So I had put on my sweatpants, and then I had put on, oh, which reminds me, I need to go switch over laundry. So I put on my sweatpants, and then I was like, okay, I need my hoodie too. So I put on my hoodie, but then I don't like working with the sleeves. So I ended up taking the hoodie off a little bit later. But then I was like looking at the cats, and I was like, Sushi was just causing royal chaos. She was being chaos embodied. And I was like, you are just being a brat child. So I ended up grabbing a sweater and putting a sweater on Sushi. And then it was like, she was like, okay, I'm toasty warm. I'll settle. And I'm like, okay, it's cold. I'm cold. My girls are probably cold because they've got like, you know, not that much hair. So I ended up putting a sweater on both of the girls. I had to go hunt Mochi's sweater down. Found her sweater, put the sweater on both girls, and they were just like, okay, we're toasty. Like, they were so toasty. Like, when I had dinner, my dinner was super simple. I basically had, you know, rice with a little bit of cheese sprinkled on it. That was my super fancy dinner. But when I opened the bag of cheese, normally if I open a bag of cheese, Mochi is like, boom. It doesn't matter where in the house she is. It doesn't matter how sound asleep she is. She is like there in the kitchen next to the fridge waiting for a piece of cheese. It's so funny. But yeah, today she was like, nah, I'm just going to stay laying here on the couch. I'm curled up. I don't want to move. She had her sweater on. She was laying under the blanket with the sweater on. So she was super toasty. And she was just like, no, I'm good. No need for this. Do not scratch my chair. No, stop. I will poke your belly. She's like, but I want to scratch my toes. I'm like, not on my chair. That's what your scratching post 5 feet away from you is for. But yeah, so she was so cold. It was so cute. And she did not even want to get up and go get a piece of cheese because she was chilly and she was all snuggled and warm finally. So I was like, okay, apparently the girls needed that sweater wear. And Sushi was so cute because it turned her into like the embodiment of a snuggly little cat. Oh my goodness, she was so snuggly. I was cross-stitching and I had one of the two girls in my lap most of the day as I'm sitting there cross-stitching. It was so cute. They were both like, Mom, you're gonna hold us. It was so cute. So yeah, I had the girls and they were making me hold them while I cross-stitched. It was so cute. I do have to say it's easier to do that than here, because here when I'm working on a diamond painting, they like to be on the ledge right here, but also me holding them. So I have to hold them, but they also have to be on the ledge, and it's very awkward. And it's fine if I have a large area of color blocking and I can hold the tray like this, have a cat draped over my arm right here, and then be, you know, diamond painting with this hand. But if I've got color changes, it's hard to do. They're very tricky when it comes to the color changes. So anywho, yeah, that's what the girls have been up to, and that's how our day went. And then I have like no actual plans for this weekend. I just want to chill and, you know, diamond paint and craft and do all the things. And yeah, I do have to mow my lawn, so we will see whether that gets done on Sunday or Monday, but the lawn does need mowed. But other than that, no plans for the weekend beyond just, Mochi, do not scratch my chair. Stop. Don't give me that look. I stop her and she's like, whips her head around to look at me. Mochi. No. No. Stop it. You're just being stubborn. You're just being silly. So now she's laying on her side, scrabbling around in circles on the chair because, you know, she can. What are you doing, brat child? Your scratching post is like literally 3 feet from you, brat. Go scratch on the scratching post with that little fat belly. Hi. 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 You're silly. Look at that fat belly. Look at that fat belly. You're sassing me for pulling a sushi. You're being a sassy mo. You're being such a sassy mo. Oh my goodness, your chin is filthy. Your chin needs scrubbed so badly. Oh my word. You're a silly cat. Oh my word. This cat, she's something else. She won't let me diamond paint because she's, you know, being silliness. As soon as I ignore her, she's going to like go back to being silly. But anyways, I think that, let me just call, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't have anything else to talk about because, you know, it's been such a, I had the live and I talked about everything on the live. So this is like a repeat for all of y'all. But I am going to go ahead and turn off the light so you guys can see. Well, I only really did the darks. Kind of, it doesn't look like a lot, but it's kind of scattered what I did on this. Yeah, that's what you get. You fall off the chair. She was rolling around. Do not scritch my chair, Mo. No. Would you stop? Would this stop? Look at this. Look at this. Sassy Mo. I know. Oh, you took the pillow with you. What's up with that? Okay, you need your nails trimmed because you snagged things. I know. Don't give me that stubborn little face. She's like, Mom, stop. Put me down. Look at that. She's like, put me down, Mom. You gonna look at the phone? You gonna look? Hey, there's the baby. There she is. She's like, Mom, stop. Put me down. Let me get back to doing my chaos. You're silly, Mo. Silly cat. Okay, that's all I have for you guys for today. Let me turn off this light so you can see what it actually looks like with the darks added in. Let me actually show you the other side of the canvas. I was showing it during my live yesterday and proceeded to, as I was trying to grab it, I knocked the canvas over and it knocked one of my pens over and I broke a pen. I was so sad because it was a beautiful, beautiful pen. So this is the part that I have done already, is this top half here. And I did add a couple ABs to it. I added some ABs around our little ghosty. I added some, and I added a couple of fairy dust into the pumpkin. So the pumpkin is basically all specials for the pumpkin because they came with this and it came with, I think, yeah, so it came with the 2 glow drills and then I added and it came with the AB right here and then I added the dust drills for the rest of the coloring of the pumpkin. And then I added a couple dust drills up into the purples of her hair that you see through the ghost. And then I also added the ABs around our outline of our little ghosty. And I like how it turned out. It's looking really good. We're just at the angle where you see that glare, but it looks really good. I like it. But anyways, that is Embrace of the Pumpkin and I added ABs right here on her, on that section. That's Embrace of the Pumpkin from the artist Kikoa from Muni Made, and it is adorable. I'm loving it, and it will be done before the end of the weekend. So yes, but that's all I have for you guys for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.